शेयर बेटा।
मैम ऐसे कौन से ऑर्गेनल, मैम ऐसे कौन से ऑर्गेनल्स है जिसका खुद का डीएनए होता है?
Two organelles are there. One is mitochondria, other is chloroplast. They have their own set of DNAs. It is said that once upon a time they used to be a eukaryotic cell, which somehow inserted in. Sorry, they used to be prokaryotic cell, and they somehow inserted into the eukaryotic cell and started living as a part of it. And due to symbiosis, it lost its own existence and started living as an organ. So this is said because if you look into the DNA structure of DNA structure and ribosome of mitochondria and chloroplast, it has lots many similarities with prokaryotes. That's why. These are the two organelles of eukaryotes which are known to have their own set of genetic material.
Ma'am?
Yes, beta?
Ma'am, I also having doubt.
Yes, definitely. I wish to answer all your doubts.
Ma'am, there is a term given fits in our module. Can you please explain it?
Can you please repeat your question and be a bit louder, beta?
Ma'am, there is a term PITS, P-I-T-S, PITS in our module. So can you explain that term?
In which part it is mentioned?
Ma'am, in biology first module.
Can you, no, I can understand. It is like related. Can you spell it? Because I am not able to understand the spelling.
Ma'am, P-I-T-S, PITS.
Okay, pits. That is a part of cell wall. Cell wall, the primary cell wall is having almost even kind of deposition of material due to which it is created. But in case of secondary cell wall, what happens is the deposition of lignin and suberin makes the cell wall not very even. So while deposition, if there is a part where no matter is deposited, it acts as a depression. Those depressions are called pits. Let me draw a diagram. It will be easy for you to understand. Consider this is the layer of middle lamella. Okay. Now, when we are talking about the primary cell wall, it will be deposited just to the inner side of middle lamella. Let us consider this is the primary cell wall. Now, if we talk about the secondary cell wall, its deposition is not same everywhere. At some part deposition is high, at some parts deposition is not that much high. So which results into such kind of depression. These depressions are called pits. Okay, and let me tell you, if you look into the like cross section of a cell wall, these pits can be arranged in linear fashion, and it looks as if there is an ornamentation of the cell wall. Consider if you take a cross section like this, they may be arranged in a spiral fashion also. And these pits can be simple pits where like only depression is there, and they can be bordered pit. There can be presence of bordered pits. So what is this bordered pit? Bordered pits are having border material which is generally lignin or suberin, and these are highlighted borders. So if you look into bordered pits, you can see that such kind of border material is deposited at the like periphery of these peaks. Understood, beta? So that is what
Yes,
these
ma'am.
is.
Okay,
Anyone
ma'am.
else? Any more doubt? I'm really happy that this class is like taking it very seriously, and you are going through your materials. And in future also, I will be very happy if you like think anything is missed. You please point it out. Definitely, we will discuss in the class. And never ever hesitate anyone to ask any doubt. Even if you ask me 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, unless and until it is understood by you, I am ready to explain better. No problem from my side. Any more doubt, anyone? Class?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am, no doubt.
I guess we can move ahead. I told you that today we are going to discuss about the types of proteins based on their function, isn't it? So we already observed the structure of cell wall, and there we observed that proteins and lipids are the main components of cell wall. And while we were talking about protein, we saw that they can be like intrinsic or extrinsic protein. Now, these proteins can be present in the cell wall depending on their function. They can be classified into following categories. What are the following categories? Let us know. They can be channel proteins. What do we mean by channel protein? Consider in a cell membrane, they act as a channel to transport something from outside to inside or from inside to outside. Let me give you an example so that it can be clear to you. You know that cell membranes are having fatty acid molecules arranged like this. What do you think? They are arranged like this, no? They are arranged in the form of a
Yes, ma'am.
bilayer. Now we know that the tail part of these fatty acids are very much hydrophobic. They lack the water. So that means if this is outside and this is inside, how do you think the water is transported inside cell? Why? Because water cannot go inside, no beta. How can it go inside? अगर वो अंदर जाएगा तो क्या होगा? Tail उसके कांटेक्ट में आएंगे कि नहीं आएंगे? What do you think, class? Will tail come in contact with it? Yes, no?
No, ma'am.
आएगा ही ना? Consider करो if there is a pore through which water is coming inside. अगर water, consider here this channel protein is absent. And simply there is a pore. When water will come inside or water will come outside, don't you think the tails are also getting in touch with water? They will be coming in touch with water, no?
Yes, ma'am.
So we require some kind of insulations which will protect these tails from water. Here comes the role of channel protein. So what happens is we have channel proteins like porine proteins. Okay, and like example of these channel proteins are porine, And if you want to be specific about water, it is called aquaporine. So this aquaporine is making a path which is insulating the tail part so that water can move inside the cell without any hassle. Clear to all of you? Class?
Yes, ma'am.
So they
Yes, ma'am.
work as a channel. Now let us see, they can work as a carrier. What do we mean by as carrier proteins? These proteins are having very important structure. What they do is, they are specific to specific substance. So what they do, they capture the substance to be inserted into the cell and flip their direction and release them inside the cell. So if this is outside, if this is inside, carrier proteins are binding with the substance, and this is the carrier proteins, and they flip on. They just keep on changing their direction, and whatever present outside, they grasp them, put them inside. But remember, they are very much specific. ऐसा नहीं है कि बाहर कुछ भी रहे, they will grab it. Okay. Third is receptor protein. What do we mean by this receptor protein? You know, nowadays a lot much talking is there regarding coronavirus, है ना? So coronavirus cannot affect us if we do not have the receptor protein for coronavirus. So what do we mean by receptor protein? These are protein present in the, or rather to say, if this is the cell membrane, these are proteins present at the top of cell membrane, which is responsible for receiving a substrate. In grade 10, you studied transmission of nerve impulse, beta. How nerve impulse transmit from one neuron to other. Class?
Yes, ma'am.
So कैसे होता है? How neuron is transmitting impulse from one cell to another?
Ma'am, may I?
बोलो.
Ma'am, it it receives the message at dendrite, then dendrite passes it to the axon, and axon to the cell ending. Then the messages get converted into the chemical substance by neurotransmitter present in the synapse. Then they pass it to the another dendrite of the another cell.
हाँ, so here comes my question कि कैसे ये होता है कि the chemical messenger, that is acetylcholine, like secreted by the first neuron, is accepted by the second neuron. How that is done? That is done by the receptor proteins present on the surface of the next neuron. So those receptor proteins are those receptor proteins are characteristically or specifically there for this specific type of substrate. So they are responsible for reception. You know, we are multicellular organism. We have thousands, or let us say crores of cells present in our body. But do you feel that all these cells functioning differently, but they are working in a synchronization. What do you feel? When I'm taking your class or conducting your class, my eyes are seeing, vocal cord is vibrating, mouth is moving, hand is writing. But do you think that there is a synchronization between all of these? Yes. Then how this synchronization is possible without passing message from one cell to another cell? This passing message is captured in what? It is captured by the receptors present in the cell. And these receptors are very specific. They get binded with the specific type of substances. And when there is binding of these receptor proteins with their substances or substrates, it generates a signal to the cell कि अच्छा ये आया है, now we need to do this. Understood, class?
Yes, ma'am.
Last but not least are the marker proteins. What do we mean by this marker protein? Marker protein are surface proteins present characteristically in specific type of cell. You know, if we kind of transfer blood of one blood group into another, class,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
are you aware
Yes,
of the
ma'am.
fact that if blood group of group of one person is different from the other, and if there is any blood transfusion, it is hazardous for the one who is getting blood. Are you aware of this fact? जैसे किसी का ब्लड ग्रुप बी है, आपने उसको ए का ब्लड दे दिया,
Yes, ma'am.
क्यों ऐसा
ma'am,
होता है? बॉडी को कैसे पता चलता है?
Ma'am,
Ma'am.
with the help of marker enzyme.
Yes.
सेल्स है ना, जो ब्लड ग्रुप होता है उसी से यूज टू होता है, इससे वो कोई और ब्लड ग्रुप को एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर पाते.
Because they recognize each other with the help of marker proteins, isn't it? So they are knowing each other with the help of the marker proteins. Okay, so these are like types of protein based on the function of them. I will keep on sharing the screen, and you let me know if you have any doubt regarding any one of its function.
ma'am,
बोलो बेटा.
ma'am, would you please just explain again channel protein?
Channel proteins are like a tube-like structures. They like ensure easy passage of molecules from through the cell membrane. जैसे आप टनल्स होते हैं ना पहाड़ में, आप एक साइड से दूसरे साइड जाते हो कि नहीं जाते हो?
Yes. Yes. Ma'am,
Yes बेटा.
am I audible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Anyone, any more doubt?
Ma'am, actually, I wanted to know the brief of which you have written, porine and aquaporine.
Acha, porine is a type of channel protein and aquaporine is a type of channel protein which is responsible for conduction of water.
So, ma'am, the integral proteins which are available in cell membrane are all are called tunnel proteins. So they came under this label channel proteins.
I didn't get better. What you want?
Ma'am, actually, the integral proteins are also called tunnel proteins. So they came
Yes,
under this
see,
label channel.
you are not getting my concept, beta. We see the position of protein in the lipid layer is one aspect of classifying proteins, and this is another aspect of classifying protein. जैसे आपके क्लास में समझो 10 बच्चे, ये 10 बच्चों को मैं उनके मार्क्स के बेसिस पे भी क्लासिफाई कर सकती हूँ. I can classify on the basis of their height also, isn't it? So these are two different aspects of classifying the same thing. That's what I am talking about. So channel proteins are obviously generally the transmembrane protein.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so can I consider this as a green signal and move ahead with the rest of the chapters, beta?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So any more doubt in cell membrane?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
So let me show you the structure of plasma membrane. Obviously, last time also I showed you, but this time you can have a close look into the different parts and so this is how cell membrane looks in 3-dimension, beta. It is a sheet-like structure which is spread across, and as I told you that it's like kind of structure which is quasi-fluid in nature. It is quite fluid in nature rather than being completely solid. And I hope in grade 9 you people studied about centrifugation, that is also known as churning. We talked about that day about centrifugation. So different components of same cells can be separated by means of cell fractionation and centrifugation. This is one of the best method to separate them. Depending on their density, depending on their weight, they can be separated depending on the properties. Okay. So this is how cell fractionation is done. This is actually discussed in chapter number 9, but I thought let me show you over here that cells are generally grinded and they are rotating them in a circular pathway, which is known as centrifugation. And obviously, depending on the size, weight, and density, we require specialized centrifugation. For DNA structure, which is very lightweight, we need to give it more speed, because more rotation per minute, more there will be chances of sedimentation. So you can see here at the speed of 60 G, this G is not gram, it is the unit of centrifugation. For 10 minutes, first the nuclei is in sediment, then mitochondria and lysosomes will come. So what we do is, why this is called differential centrifugation and cell fractionation. Once we rotate the disk into low speed, some part is getting sedimented and most of the part will float. So what we do is, the part which is flowing is called supernatant, and we transfer it into new tube and rotate it with more speed. Same here, once mitochondria and lysosome is settled down, then the supernatant is collected and transferred into a new tube, and it is further like rotated in higher speed, and finally we have ribosome endoplasmic reticulum. So this is anatomy of a ideal animal cell. I find this picture really very nice, because along with the labeling, various parts, the various functions of various part is mentioned here. That's why I'm sharing this image here, because if you have this recording, I request all of you to pause it and read. It can you can take a screenshot also. This can be used as a ready reference for you for while you revise before your examination. Same is with plant cell. Here also different parts of plant cell described with their function. So we will move ahead with the.
plant cell,
You want me to share it once again?
plant cell वाली slide.
Yes, in plant cell what happens?
मैम वो वाली स्लाइड एक बार फिर से
हाँ
display
हाँ, I
करें।
will definitely बेटा.
हाँ मैम एक बार एनिमल सेल वाली की कर दो मैं डिस्प्ले।
Wait for a moment. Let people who wish to see plant cell, let them see it properly. Then I will change.
ओके मैम डन।
So let me share the picture of animal cell too. Class, should we move ahead?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So, after studying cell wall and cell membrane, what do you think we should study next? What should be the next like part of organelle that we should study?
Endomembrane system.
Ma'am, how materials are transported in cell membrane?
Yes, but I am not going to talk about it much because beta, you have this year the chapter number 11 where it is discussed in detail. So I am not going to talk about it now. The symport, antiport and all are present in there in that chapter. So is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
You can see
Yes,
it,
ma'am.
sir. Yes, beta. Yes, someone was saying something and suddenly stopped. So this is a very comprehensive way of differentiating plant and animal cell. You can closely or quickly go through the points, and it is very short and sweet example of both. So cell wall is unique of plant. Shape is different generally. For animal, it is round, and they are either rectangular or we can say hexagonal because they have corners. Basically, plant cells are not generally spherical or in nature. Okay. Centrioles present in animal cell, they are generally absent in plant cell, but a very few lower plants can have the centrioles present in them. Vacuoles, small in animal cell, very large in case of plant cells. In fact, 90% of the cell's volume is uptaken by the vacuole there. Cytoplasm present, ribosome present, plastid absent, plasma membrane present in both the cases, but in animal it is the only membrane. In plant, it has cell wall outside. In case of animal, glycocalyx may be present, but it is optional. Golgi apparatus present in both cases, but in majority cases, the higher plants do not have Golgi apparatus. They have a part called dictyosome. Their Golgi apparatus are a bit different from the animal. Next is mitochondria present in both, endoplasmic reticulum present in both. Generally, like animals do not have chloroplast, but a few unicellular animal-like organisms can go for photosynthesis. They are eukaryotes only. Can anyone give me the name of
Ma'am, can you repeat the question?
any unicellular organism which can go for photosynthesis? Animal. It should be having animal-like characteristics. Placed under Monera.
Blue-green algae?
No, blue-green algae is prokaryotic, beta. How it can be?
Euglena.
Yes, very good, beta. Euglena is an animal-like structure which can go for photosynthesis. So they don't have. Yes, Yashvi.
मैम वो symbiotic relation रखती है.
Euglena have symbiotic. No, it doesn't have symbiotic. I didn't get your question. Can you repeat once again?
मैम वो एक algae का type है.
My question was which organism go for synthesis of its own food, and it's not a plant cell. It's having similarity with animal. She gave example of Euglena, which is correct.
Yes मैम वो तो मैंने ही बोला लेकिन वो एक algae का type है ऐसा पूछ रही.
Algae अगर हुआ तो then it will be plant only, no? Plant-like structure. It will have cell wall.
मैम जनरली एल्गे तो सिम्बायोटिक रिलेशन नहीं बनाती, तो उसका भी
बेटा
होगा।
वो बनाती है symbiotic relation, but how it is relevant to the question I asked? Is it? It
Okay.
can be the answer of the question I asked. No, na. You want to ask it as a different, separate doubt, that does algae
Yes,
have? Yes, algae have symbiotic relationship with other organisms. Fungi, for example, lichen is a symbiotic relationship between algae and fungi. Okay, sure.
okay मैम।
Next is flagella. They may be present everywhere. Microtubules and microfilaments are present in both. Cilia is generally present in animal cell. It is very rarely present in plant cell. Lysosomes present mainly in case of animal cell. Nucleus is present in both. Kinesis is different in both of them. You people are not aware of what is cytokinesis. We will study about it in the chapter of cell division. There you will know that when cells divide, that means from one cell, 2 cells or 4 cells are produced. The way cells are getting separated from them by creating a barrier, that procedure is called cytokinesis. That is different in plant and animal cell. I am not explaining it here with much detail. You will be able to understand it when we will study the chapter number 10. So anyone any doubt, or you want to add any point in difference between plant and animal cell? Class? If not, then can we move ahead?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So as one of your friends suggested, I am thinking of continuing with the transport also, because nowadays the position of syllabus is very uncertain. We still don't know that we will have the same kind of situation this year. And this year, once again, the chapter number 11 can be deleted. So I changed my mind. I thought we should talk about the transport methodologies. So basically, transport can be done in two means. One is active, other is passive. Have you people studied about active passive transport? If you have studied, then
Yes,
I want
ma'am.
to hear it from you. So who is going to tell me the difference between active and passive transport? Kindly raise your hand.
Ma'am, can I?
Who is this? Rutu. Rutu, you generally speak better. Can I give this time chance to Ayushi?
Yes, ma'am, no problem.
Okay. So Ayushi, you can speak. What is the difference between active and passive transport?
Ma'am, active transport is a movement in cell where the material or anything is transporting against its concentration. That is, if the concentration of anything is lower in outer side and higher in inside, then it will transfer from lower to higher concentration. Whereas in passive transport, it move in the coordination of concentration gradient, so it doesn't require any extra energy.
Okay, great. Great that you shared the two main points of active and passive transport clearly. So two main points are there. One is energy is required in active, whereas in passive it is not required. And active transport is against gradient. So I will give you an example with which you will remember. If you want to push a stone to the top of hill, do you require energy?
Yes, ma'am.
नीचे से उसको ऊपर लेके जाना है. So this type of reactions are transports are known as uphill reaction. Okay, and downhill uphill reaction means the case where we are pushing something to the tip of mountain. So that means we will be requiring, we need to give it extra energy, isn't it? So that is same with the active transport. In case of active transport, we need to push the substances to the tip of hill so that we can get the energy, and it is against the gravitational force. And downhill is compared with the passive transport. If I am dropping something from the tip of the hill, it will by natural means come down due to gravitational attraction force. So with this example, you can remember that active transport is against concentration gradient and it requires energy, whereas passive is towards gradient, that is from high to low. It's a natural method. See, you must be aware of the fact that
Ma'am,
am I audible? It seems I was
Yes,
speaking
ma'am.
and you people were not able, because I must be having some
Yes,
kind
ma'am.
of network disruption. Anyways, passive transport is always towards concentration gradient. It's a like what I can say, tendency of nature to have the equilibrium. If you see, the water flows from high to low to achieve the balance. If you light up the incense stick at one part of the room, the smell fills the whole room, because it wants to have equal distribution of substances throughout the area. So when it's a natural tendency, you basically don't need to do anything special. It will occur by its own. It will continue till the time the equilibrium is not achieved. You people will have a chapter in chemistry called equilibrium. Okay. So this is how it is done. Any questions, anyone?
No, ma'am, no questions.
So I just want to ask you another question and wrap up this part. Can you tell me the difference between diffusion and osmosis? If you are aware of this and it is well understood, then I'm going to skip this, because we need to move ahead in the chapter. If you are aware of the difference between diffusion and osmosis very clearly, I'm displaying the difference here. If you are aware of all the points, kindly raise your hand so that we can skip. All of you, beta. Devanshi, Dhruvanshi, and people who have doubt can unmute themselves and ask me the doubt. So can we move ahead? I guess
Yes,
maximum
ma'am.
number of students. No,
Yes, ma'am.
3, 4. So if anyone is having any doubt, can ask.
Ma'am,
Yes, beta.
ma'am, as here the point is mentioned that in diffusion it is equalize the concentration of substance. So मैम इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि अगर दोनों साइड पे जब कोई भी सब्सटेंस का कंसंट्रेशन सेम हो जाएगा तो वो प्रोसेस रुक जाएगी। था मैम, मतलब उसका मीनिंग ऐसा हुआ?
हाँ मतलब let me tell you why this point is mentioned. I will give you an example with which you will understand. See the main difference. Yes beta.
मैम डिफ्यूजन का एग्जांपल तो रेजिन्स होगा ना?
Resins. Resins means?
सॉरी मैम, रेन.
Yes Vicky. Your voice is breaking beta. I cannot hear you clearly. You may be having a network error. Yes Vicky, you can speak beta. Anyways, see what I wish to speak here is about concentration. Consider a situation if you have two solutions, solution A and solution B. In case of solution A, you have 1 gram of sugar in like let's talk about 20 ml of water. Okay, and in case of solution B, if you have 2 gram of sugar with a 10 ml of H2. So obviously there will be movement of water from here to here up to the level concentration is same. But we need to mention, understand यहाँ पे जो ये 2 ग्राम शुगर है ये 2 ग्राम ही रहेगा और यहाँ जो ये 1 ग्राम है ये 1 ग्राम ही रहेगा. There will be no change in the amount of solute. Why? Because during osmosis only and only the solution out of solution the solvent can move. That is specifically water. Understood everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
That's why
Yes, ma'am.
we mentioned this equalizing concentration of solvent means they will not equalize the amount of solute over here. Concentration may be same. Some extra amount of water will go here and concentration may be same at some point. But the amount of solute will not be same. That's why they mentioned it. So resin is an example. I guess Vicky was asking about resin. It is an example of
Yes, ma'am.
not diffusion. The basic difference is osmosis does have the role of semi-permeable membrane, whereas diffusion doesn't have. So when resins get swelled, the water pass through semi-permeable membrane. No, then how it can be diffusion? It is osmosis. So these are different types of osmosis. You studied about them in lower grades also. That's why I'm skipping that part quickly. That solutions can be of 3 types: hypotonic, isotonic, and hypertonic. Consider a situation if one is having 3 solutions, that is A, B, and C. If this is its concentration is 2 molar लिखूं तो समझ में आ जाएगा आप सबको. Now I guess you studied about the first chapter. It is 1 molar and
Yes,
this is
ma'am.
also 2 molar. So that means if we compare A, B, see this hypotonic, hypertonic, isotonic depends on what are the solutions we are comparing. If we are comparing A, B, then A is hypertonic and B is hypotonic. Hypo means low, hyper means less. याद रखने का बहुत अच्छा एक तरीका है, हम बोलते हैं हाई ब्लड प्रेशर को हम बोलते हैं हाइपरटेंशन. तो हाई ब्लड प्रेशर मीन्स हाइपर, तो हाइपर मीन्स मोर एंड हाइपो मीन्स लेस. If we are comparing B and C, then C will be hypertonic and B will be hypotonic. But if you are comparing A and C, both of them will be isotonic. So it is not constant, depending on what solution you are talking about depends. Okay, so I wish to share one more thing over here, that what is the direction of osmosis. Because see beta, in diffusion it is very simple, only single direction of movement is there, that is from high concentration to low concentration. This is the
पहले
single.
क्या बोला मेरे
Yes beta,
मैम अभी आपने 2 मिनट पहले क्या समझाया
I made you understand the concept of hypotonic, isotonic and hypertonic.
मैम वो आप रिपीट करो ना मेरा नेटवर्क इश्यू था
So who is going to repeat it for Yashvi? Yes, Ayushi.
Ma'am, hypotonic, isotonic, and hypertonic are the kind of solution. Means where the concentration is low, which is hypotonic. Where the concentration is similar on the both sides, that is isotonic. And when the concentration is higher, then the higher side is said to be hypertonic.
So it is a comparative parameter of two solutions. Out of two, if concentration of one is high, that will be known as hyper. Another one will be hypo. And if concentration of two solutions are same, we call them isotonic. So if you grow up, you can see different definitions of osmosis. You can define osmosis as movement of water via semi-permeable membrane अब इसको बोलने के लिए from wet to wet various ways are there. Low concentration, I am referring here concentration of the solution present in the cell. So low concentration to high, concentration. Second option is from, we can say from high water content to low water content. And third way we can say from hypotonic to hypertonic. So osmosis can be defined by any of these parameters. It can be defined by any one of these parameters. Understood, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's move ahead with our concept. Types of osmosis can be further subdivided into exoosmosis and endoosmosis. If anything is going inside the cell, we call it endoosmosis. And if anything is going outside the cell, we call it exoosmosis. So when cells are present in a hypotonic environment, for example, if you put animal cells into plain water, cells obviously cell in cytoplasm, so many things are there. So concentration of cytoplasm will be obviously more than the concentration of plain water, because plain water means it doesn't have anything. So what will happen? The cell will burst. So it's always prescribed not to give cells in plain water, because otherwise they will burst. Wow, why burst? Water will move from hypo to hyper. That means water will move from outside to inside. Cells will take too much water, and as plant cells do not have that extra protective layer of cell like wall, they will simply swell and burst. Whereas in case of if you place in hypertonic condition, for example, you had a very like sugar solution of high concentration, and you put cell inside that, the cell will lose water and it will shrink. So I want all of you to have a very clear concept about all of this. This is another very important aspect, that is the difference between plants and plant cell and rather to say cell wall and cell membrane. See why I am focusing much on these differences and I mentioned about them everywhere, because in examination they will ask differences as 2 markers, or even if incorporate 2 or 3 differences in 3 marker questions also. So can you people go through it and let me know if any point is having any doubt? If not, then we will move ahead. Class, give me your response, beta.
Ma'am, it's clear.
It's clear, ma'am.
Yeah, continue.
So without much ado, we will move towards the next class, that is called cytoplasm. So inside cell membrane, there is a gel-like semi-transparent fluid, which is called cytoplasm. The basic composition of cytoplasm vary from cell to cell, beta. It is never same. You cannot say. Even depending on like organism to organism, though it varies. Depending on individual to individual, it varies. If you check the cytoplasmic concentration or composition of 2 individual, very minutely, but it varies. Okay, so what is there in cytoplasm? Cytoplasm is having the jelly-like substance cytosol. It has cell organelle and it was having cytoplasmic inclusions that we discussed already while I was showing you the flow chart of the chapter. It is in close association with plasma membrane, and the aqueous part of cytoplasm that is present outside cell organelle is also known as cytosol. It's approximately 70% of the volume of the cell. So you can understand it's important. It is basically served so many purpose. Can any one of you tell me what are the functions of cytoplasm? Anyone?
Ma'am, will you please repeat your question?
What is the role of cytoplasm?
Ma'am, it holds the material,
Other than
like
that,
organelle.
other than that,
Ma'am, it helps in transport.
other than that,
Protects from the damage.
beta, your voice is not clear.
Protects from the damage.
I didn't get what you said.
Ma'am, it helps in solving.
Can anyone have you heard anyone what she said? If you can repeat.
No, ma'am, it's not clear.
So why I ask and confirm always, because it may be my internet problem also, no? See, cytoplasm is responsible for various functions present in the cell. It's not simply holding the parts. It is a major place where lot many things are stored. And in cytoplasm, there is a kind of movement which we can compare with the tidal movement, that is called cytoplasmic streaming. That means this gel-like semi-transparent fluid structure is on continuous ripples. This cytoplasmic streaming make sure that, consider if we have a cell very big, or even if a small cell, if any substance is produced or like secreted this part, how it will travel to this part? Endoplasmic reticulum is always not the correct way. Can it travel through cytoplasm also? Yes, because you can see such kind of rippling movements, which are kind of counter current movement visible in cytoplasm. And cytoplasm is continuously getting circulated throughout the cell. Oh, it's not a stagnant structure. So via these structures, many substances get transported. So three functions I would like to mention. Obviously, it holds the parts. Second is it is responsible for storage, and third thing is it is responsible for transport also. Apart from that, I must say that in cell, various reactions takes place, beta. Various reactions takes place. All reaction doesn't take place inside the cell organelle. There are some reactions, there are some processes which takes place in cytoplasm. For example, this year you are going to study that in respiration, two phases are there. First phase is known as glycolysis, and this part occur in cytoplasm. So it is a site for various reactions. So who is going to repeat the four uses of cytoplasm for me? What I mentioned? Helps in transport. It holds the internal part. It acts as a site of reactions and processes. And last but not least, it is a storage place also. Is it clear to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So now we will move
Yes, ma'am.
towards the endomembrane system. So what do we mean by endomembrane system? Endomembrane system includes various cell organelle. Basically, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, lysosome, vacuoles. I want to ask you one question. We know that when we talk about cell organelles, all cell organelles are present inside cell membrane only, no? Then, why we call it endomembrane system?
Ma'am, can I?
Yes, beta, bolo.
Ma'am, these particularly organ systems are known as endomembrane system because they are internally connected with each other, whereas mitochondria and other organelles are not connected with them.
So it is interconnected with what? Are they
Ma'am, the
interconnected with
organ-
each other?
Yes, ma'am, the endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, lysosome and vacuole are interconnected.
Let me tell you something very specific. Yes, Yashvi is raising hand. Yes, Yashvi, you want to share something different? Please say, beta.
Am I audible?
Yes, Yashvi, you are audible.
Ma'am, all the organelles are within one type of group and forming a group. Therefore, it is called endomembrane.
Like, what is the reason why they are considered as part of membranous substructure?
Ma'am, means you are asking about formation of each other.
Yes, because you will know when we will study about cell division that basically ER is a source of production of new cell membrane, and cell membrane produce ER. So they are nothing but foldings of cell membrane which are modified as specialized organelles. So that's why they are called as a part of endomembrane system. These are nothing but foldings of cell membrane. Okay. And out of them, ER is responsible for creation of new cell membrane in new cell, and new ERs are produced by cell membrane. That's why we call them endomembrane system. So we are stopping our class over here because it's already due time. We will talk about endomembrane system. So next day we will finish up endomembrane system, and then we will study the other cell organelles present in the body. Endomembrane system will take some time, but then other cell membranes will not take that much time. It can be covered easily. So that's all from my side today. You wish to ask any doubt, beta?